Blue Book Talking to Psychopaths, Chapter 9 Summary. Introduction. In Chapter 9, Christopher Berry moves toward the deeper consequences of psychopathy, not just for victims but for society, law enforcement, and the justice system. This chapter focuses on the long-term danger psychopaths pose, how they manipulate systems, not just people, the limits of rehabilitation, the emotional contrast between victims and offenders, why society struggles to deal with psychopathy. By this point in the book, a pattern has become clear. Psychopaths operate with emotional detachment, strategic thinking, and a desire for control, and this does not easily disappear over time. Brain beyond individual crimes. Chapter 9 emphasizes that psychopathy is not just about one violent act. It is about a persistent personality structure. Berry explains that many psychopaths do not view themselves as evil, do not internalize moral responsibility, see their crimes as logical or justified. Because of this mindset, even when imprisoned, they may not mentally change. This makes psychopathy a long-term concern for society. Performing arts, manipulating the system. One of the strongest themes in Chapter 9 is system manipulation. Psychopaths may charm legal professionals, present themselves as reformed, use therapy language convincingly, manipulate parole boards, gain sympathy through performance. Berry highlights that some offenders become experts at saying exactly what authorities want to hear. They may speak about personal growth, understanding victims, emotional development, accountability, but when carefully examined, their emotional depth remains shallow. Balance justice versus rehabilitation. Chapter 9 raises an important debate. Should the justice system focus on punishment or rehabilitation for psychopaths? Berry suggests that while rehabilitation is ideal in theory, severe psychopathy presents special challenges because emotional empathy is difficult to teach, genuine remorse is rare, manipulation can continue inside therapy. He does not argue that change is impossible, but he shows that change is often superficial rather than emotional. Neutral face, emotional contrast with victims. This chapter strongly contrasts the suffering of victims with the emotional detachment of offenders. Victims and families experience trauma, grief, fear, long-term psychological scars. Meanwhile, many psychopaths focus on their own discomfort, feel anger about imprisonment, minimize the crime, express self-pity. This imbalance creates frustration within society. The pain of victims is deep and lasting. The emotional response of psychopaths is often minimal. Direct hit, the need for control continues. Even years after conviction, many psychopaths still seek control. They may control narratives about their crimes, control how interviews are conducted, control how much information they reveal, control emotional reactions of listeners. Berry describes how some offenders enjoy attention. Being interviewed allows them to feel important again. For them, attention itself can be rewarding. Jigsaw intelligence and adaptability. Chapter 9 reinforces the idea that many psychopaths are highly adaptable. They may study psychology books, learn criminal profiling language, understand how they are described in media, adjust their behavior to appear improved. This adaptability makes them difficult to evaluate accurately. A skilled psychopath can perform empathy without feeling it. Magnifying glass tilted left the challenge for professionals. Berry explains that psychologists, criminologists, and law enforcement face serious difficulties when dealing with psychopathy. Challenges include distinguishing real remorse from manipulation, predicting future behavior, assessing risk accurately, protecting society while respecting legal rights. Psychopathy complicates traditional ideas of criminal reform, warning why awareness is critical. One key message in Chapter 9 is awareness. Understanding psychopathy helps identify warning signs earlier, protect vulnerable individuals, improve criminal profiling, strengthen parole evaluations. Barry D. suggests that ignoring the emotional structure of psychopathy can lead to repeated harm. Early recognition of chronic lying, lack of empathy, superficial charm, manipulative behavior can prevent future tragedy. Brain, the emotional core of the book. Chapter 9 brings readers back to the central truth. Psychopathy is not loud rage. It is cold calculation. The most frightening aspect is not shouting or visible madness. It is emotional emptiness combined with intelligence. Barry D. reminds us that understanding psychopathy is not about fascination. It is about prevention and protection. Key lessons from Chapter 9. Psychopathy is a persistent personality pattern. Offenders may manipulate legal and therapeutic systems. True emotional change is rare. Victims suffer deeply, while offenders often feel little. Control remains important even after imprisonment. Professionals face serious challenges assessing risk. Awareness and early recognition are essential. Brain simple conclusion. Chapter 9 highlights the long-term reality of psychopathy. Christopher Barry D. shows that prison does not automatically create empathy. Therapy does not guarantee emotional transformation. Manipulation can continue even after conviction. The central message remains clear. Psychopathy is defined not just by violent acts, but by emotional detachment and lack of conscience. Understanding this difference is essential for justice, safety, and prevention.